Guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily. I am a medical herbalist and a nutritionist and the founder of Pahudakawa Health. I'm starting a really exciting series all about planning a herb garden. So we bought this house in August of 2020, and my plan the entire time has been to do over the front yard, the front garden, with a medicinal wildflower garden. So I want to be able to grow things that I'm going to use for myself and my family, but also things that I can use in clinic. And I also eventually want it to be like a teaching garden so that I can have like groups of people around and we can all learn about the different medicinal plants and see them growing in a beautiful space. This is the first in a series that I have no idea how long it will be, and that I thought I would just bring you along because it's something that I'm really excited about and that I'm going to be doing anyways. And today is all about planning. So it is March here right now and I'm in Saskatchewan and it's actually snowing today. Almost all the snow melted and then today it is snowing. So my goal with this whole series is that it helps inspire you to get started and to try growing your own medicinal herbs. Growing your own herbal medicine is one of like the cheapest and easiest and most sustainable way to get your own herbal medicine in your life. Dog has now joined me. That's a dog butt over there. Anyways, so the challenges that I'm expecting to have with this plan is that one, I'm a pretty novice gardener. I've been growing things off and on in containers and things, but I've moved a lot, so I've never really had a well-established garden. Two is that I'm a really novice gardener in Saskatchewan. So I grew up here, but I haven't lived here for a really long time. I've barely lived here as an adult. I've only done a little bit of container gardening, and the climate is really, really extreme here. So we go from minus 40 in the wintertime to plus 40 in the summertime. We have a really short growing season. Like I said, it's March and it's snowing today. So there's a few challenges there. Luckily, I have a few really, really great local resources to call upon. So I have two friends particularly who are both herbalists and gardeners that I'm going to call on a lot. One is Summer from Summer Love Herbs. She grows the vast majority of the herbs that she uses in her herbal teas and skincare products that she sells all over Canada, and she grows them pretty much in her yard. I was able to go visit her last summer. I will put all of these people's details down below as well, so you can check them out. And the other person is Janine Cozy from Edible Landscapes. She is a permaculture design teacher and educator, and she is very, very knowledgeable specifically on edible and medicinal plants that can be grown in southern Saskatchewan and the prairies. So the good news is that a lot of medicinal plants do grow really well here, and a lot of medicinal plants are actually kind of considered weeds. And so I think I have a pretty reasonable chance at growing something, even if it's not exactly what I want. Last summer and spring and fall, as I was walking around in the city, I was taking notes in my phone along the way. Anytime I saw a medicinal plant that I was familiar with, particularly perennials, because in an ideal world, I want this to be a mostly perennial garden that comes up on its own year after year. I also really want this to be a beautiful space. So in my ideal world, it's going to be full of flowers. It's going to attract pollinators. It's going to be really pretty. It's going to be way nicer than just a front lawn, and a much more useful space. I always find front lawns are such a waste of space. Kids don't play on them, and you just have to mow them and water them. It's just kind of a waste. So the more I can put in there that is going to self-sow or be perennial, look pretty, attract beneficial bugs, contribute to the ecosystem in a positive way, the better. Another challenge that I anticipate is that my front garden is north facing. So in North America, that's the way that doesn't get very much sun. I also have a really big pine tree. I'm just looking at it up the window on the west side of my lot. So it shades a lot of the afternoon sun coming in. There are also quite established trees on the street as well. And so once those are have leaves on them, that's going to also block out some of the sun. So I'm going to have to be really, really mindful. I've started to pay attention to where the light hits, but on a day like today where it's snowing and cloudy, I can't see anything. First stage of this planning process is really to dream. And this is something I've kind of been doing for a while, but I'm going to show you some clips of, my ideas and things that I've been looking at. So I really want this, like I said, to be a really beautiful space to attract beneficial pollinators. So I just really want to look up like Pinterest worthy images of wildflower front gardens. I'm kind of picturing like a meandering British cottage garden, because I'm actually thinking that some of the plants that grow well in the UK that like can cope with a little bit more shade and a little bit less sunshine might do well. Okay guys, so here we are on my Pinterest, and this is my wildflower medicinal garden. So basically, you're gonna see very quickly that I just really love a real variety of plants. I like this one because that kind of tall one with the funny little purpley stems, that's borage, which is both medicinal and really good for bees. I've got some information on like plants that work really well for perennial gardens, and a lot of these things like yarrow, Russian sage, purple coneflower, which is echinacea, and catmint, which is a kind of catnip I have access to and I know will grow here. I just love this like multicolored, like difference in heights and variation. What else? I've got some companion planting info here, because I think that will just be kind of the way it goes. I just like love these pictures. I really like poppies. I definitely want to grow Californian poppy. This looks like it's got some yarrow in it. That's, it could be Queen Anne's lace, but I think it's probably yarrow. A no work cottage garden. That sounds great to me. How to replace lawn with wildflowers. That's what I'm going to be doing, although I'm not going to be doing any digging up. If you go check out the edible landscapes information that I put up there. Oh, I just love this picture so much. I actually follow Lovely Greens on YouTube. I think she's got lots of really good gardening info, although she is in the UK, so it's not as specific for me. Tips for planning an old-fashioned cottage garden. So lovely. Oh yeah, sorry. So on the edible landscapes, in her free course that she does, she's got information on how to replace lawn without actually digging anything up, just by using compost and cardboard and mulching over top. So that's what I will be doing. And I just thought that was really pretty as well, just like really wild and quite tall. So anyways, you get an idea. I like this picture. That little pink daisy in there is definitely an echinacea. More poppies, like I said. Some kind of like chivy looking flowers or thistly looking flowers. You get the idea. This is what I'm after. Now that we've done some dreaming, it's time to get practical. So from my dreams, I'm gonna come up with a list of plants that I know grow in Saskatchewan based on my like wanderings as well as some research. I'm gonna really start to map out some of like the light, like I said. So this is gonna be a bit of a process. This isn't gonna be done in this video because it's just too snowy. And I need to wait to see what the light does as it gets a little bit warmer and a little bit more spring-like outside. So yeah, we're gonna get really practical. I've actually just printed out a graph so that I can draw out what is already existing on the lot and kind of be mindful of like what I want to keep, like the giant pine tree is going to stay, and what I might take out. Like there's some really crappy half dead cedars just like in the middle of the yard that are definitely going to go. Okay, so here's the first shot of my front yard. This is what we're currently dealing with. It's not a very big space. It's really hard to tell what's what because honestly, everything is just covered in snow today. Those cedars are probably going to go. That's my big, beautiful pine tree that's going to stay. There are more cedars over here. So yeah, it's not a huge space, but I'm hoping we can turn it into something beautiful. This is the garden worksheet that I just downloaded off the internet. I will link the place down below, but that was it. It was from a place called myfrugalhome.com, and I just thought it was super simple and really straightforward. And now all I have to do is go outside when it's not snowing and do some measuring, which feels really exciting because that feels like that means it's really going to happen. From there, I really need to go buy stuff is going to be the next stage. So I actually have quite a lot of seeds. So some of these are things that I've purchased previously, and I actually have been doing some seed swapping with some friends around town. I just think it doesn't need to be expensive to get going with a garden, and particularly with something like medicinal plants that do grow really abundantly, generally in most climates. So buying seeds from garden centers is awesome, but I think people for the most part really overestimate how many seeds they will actually need to grow things. And this really goes for plants, like edible plants and annuals and things like that as well. So I am a huge fan of organizations like Seedy Saturday, which are all over North America. It's like a seed swapping event that takes place in cities or towns all over the world. Because you just don't need as many seeds as you think you will. And seeds have a limited lifespan. So it's better to swap them out and give them to friends and share them around rather than letting them just kind of be sad and dormant and then eventually just not be able to grow by just sitting in your cupboard. While I'm not going to need to buy a lot of seeds or plants, the things that I am going to have to buy or potentially salvage and trade are the more hardscaping materials. So what I'm thinking about is things like mulch, things like materials for raised beds, because I'm probably going to do a bit of a meandering raised bed sort of feel. I don't think I'm going to do high raised beds. I'm picturing salvaging bricks potentially, or using offcuts of heat treated wood, not chemical treated wood, things like that. I guess the real final step will be to start planting. So because I'm growing stuff from seed, there are some things that I probably will start ahead of time inside. I already have some Echinacea angustifolia seeds that I'm going to start in the 3rd week of March. And just a few bits like that I know need starting early. So I'll be doing some research on the plants that I have and find out if I can just direct sow them or if they'll benefit from start getting started inside. I don't have a great place to start seeds. I honestly think my kitchen table, which has a beautiful south-facing window, is probably going to be relegated to starting seeds for the next 8 to 12 weeks, and we're just going to be eating dinner on the floor. So that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are getting excited. There's really nothing like thinking about new life and planning a garden on a snowy day outside. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love it if you subscribe to follow along. Throughout this journey of planning a herb garden, I'm also going to be talking a lot about the medicinal properties of the plants that I'm going to grow and why I'm choosing the plants that I am. So please follow along and make sure to hit that bell notification so that you know when the next video drops. If you have any questions about any of this process, please feel free to drop them in the comments down below. I also have a blog on this, and I will put that link down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day and happy herb gardening.